Do you have a pattern in all of your relationships, not just your love relationships, but your friendships, maybe with your family? You have a pattern that people keep treating you a certain way? All right, this video is going to help you. We're going to pinpoint why this is happening and how you're able to shift and change into a version of you that has healthier, loving, supportive, mutually beneficial relationships. Okay. Hello, I'm Patty. I'm a transformational and manifestation coach, and I help you shift into the highest version of you so that you align with all the desires of your heart. If you're new here on my channel, welcome. If you have been following me for a while, thank you for tuning in again. I took some time off. I've been traveling and was just posting a lot and just needed a break. It happens. But I had a friend reach out to me saying that she missed my videos. So I thought, all right, I'm going to start posting again. I kind of asked myself, my higher mind, should I post again? What should I do? Is it helping people? And sure enough, within that time, I had several people reach out to me. So it really is a good thing. It's amazing that when you ask yourself in your higher mind, the answer comes. Whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, the power that creates worlds, the divine, that higher source, the God within you, the answer will always come. You will get the answer. You go within because you're connected to that power. You are an extension and an expression of God, right? The God within, the divine source, the power that creates worlds, as Abraham Hicks calls it. Okay, so here's something that I realized as I started doing this work, right? And hold on, let me move something here on my phone. Okay, here's something that I realized as I started doing this work and I went through my own healing journey. And I don't like to call it healing because then it implies the assumption that you're broken and there's something wrong with you, and there isn't. You're born whole and complete. You've just forgotten that. And you have assumed identities based off of limiting beliefs that other people projected onto you. And now you've assumed that identity. I'm not good enough. I'm broken. This always happens to me. I'm always ghosted. People don't love me. Whatever negative limiting beliefs you have about yourself, if you pinpoint where they came from and how they were programmed into you, and it's all programming. It is all programming. When you get to the source of it, you realize it's something, an experience that imprinted on your mind and you've been living out that same pattern. And it's the same with all your relationships, and our life is nothing but relationships, whether it's love, whether it's work, whether it's friendships, whether it's the person that you see at the coffee shop in the morning or at the convenience store, the drugstore, wherever you go, how people treat you. And it's an identity that you have. An identity and assumption about how you're treated. You either believe that you're always treated well and people love you and adore you, or that you're always getting mistreated. You always get the rude waitress. You always get the rude whatever, the rude coworker. If you're having to change jobs every 4 or 5 months and it happens to you, and it's been happening to you because the people are always the problem, I'm going to tell you, you're the common denominator. I don't want to say you're the problem, but there's something within you that keeps unaligning with the same type of situation. You have this belief within yourself that you're always the one that doesn't fit in, that's not wanted, that's not excluded, that's different, that people just don't like. And you have this narrative and this story, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You have this limiting belief. You've created an identity around it. You keep living it out in your reality, and it keeps showing up in the people. How do you shift? How do you change? First, you get awareness of it. When you realize you have this pattern in friendships and dating, if you keep telling yourself, this always happens to me, I always get ghosted, I always attract the bad guy, I always, or this always happens to me, you're in a pattern. And if you're in a pattern, it is because you have a limiting belief attached to that, and you've imprinted that, and you've made it an identity. Once you have an awareness that this exists within you, you don't have to get to the source of what created it. Once you have the awareness, that's it. You get to say, I don't prefer this. I don't like this. What do I prefer? And then you shift into, what do I prefer? Who would I prefer to be? I work somewhere where I'm valued and loved and adored. I have great relationships. All my relationships are mutually beneficial and mutually reciprocal. And I respect myself, therefore other people respect me. I am comfortable around people. I make friends easily. People love me, and I love being around people. What other beliefs and stories, those are affirmations that you're constantly making in your mind. Every belief you have is an affirmation, and it's either a negative one that imprints on your mind, and your mind is always listening. Your mind is always listening. Whatever you're telling yourself, that self-talk, that self-dialogue, they're essentially affirmations that you're saying, yes, this is who I am, this is my identity. So once you have the awareness, the shift is, who do I prefer to be? And you anchor in that new belief, that new identity. You override when you catch yourself. When you catch yourself in that old way of thinking, you give it a new story. You give it a new meaning. If you encounter someone rude, here's what I started telling myself. When I encounter someone rude, I tell myself, oh, that has nothing to do with me. They're going through a bad day. And then I don't make it an identity that I'm always treated with people well. I'm always treated well by people. People love me. People support me. People show up for me. I have great friendships. I have great relationships. I have great family relationships that when I leave someone's life, they always come back. They always want to come back into my life because I leave a huge void in their life. When I remove my energy and my presence from someone's life, I leave a huge void and emptiness in their life. That is a belief I have, that is a story I have, and it's a reality I've created. I'm loyal, I'm loving, I'm supportive, and the people that show up in my life reflect that same energy. I only have safe, mutually reciprocal, mutually beneficial relationships, right? Safe relationships with people that are healed and whole and want the best for me. And I want the best for them. Healthy relationships. I only have healthy relationships with people who are whole and healed and want the best for me. Since I've started affirming this, it's changed who shows up in my life, who the quality of my relationships, and the quality of who I am and what I accept and what I believe is true. I've stopped overperforming, overgiving, looking for validation outside myself, because that validation comes from within in your connection to God, source, the universe, that power that creates worlds. When you understand you have these limiting beliefs and you start overriding that old way of thinking, you override those old beliefs, those old patterns, and you ask yourself, who would I prefer to be? You create a new story around it. Create a new story. If you encounter the rude person at the convenience store, you tell yourself that has nothing to do with me. You send them love, and then you go about your way, and you don't magnify it. You don't give it energy. You don't spend time on it. You realize that it has nothing to do with you, that you align with better, and you're able to shift into, I align with healthy people. I align with people that are kind. I align with people that are helpful. I'm always treated well. I'm always invited. I'm always included. I have great work environments. I love where I work. Whatever story you're telling yourself, you're affirming, you're creating, which is essentially manifesting. You're creating more of the same. You're anchoring in that belief. So, and we're always in process. We're always working out our relationships. So I've started to look at, what story am I telling myself? What beliefs am I telling myself? And just shift them. And it works. It works so easily. I promise you, try it. Try it. Think of a relationship that you have right now and the story that you have built around it and the affirmations. Now, I'm waving my magic wand. Let me grab it, my pen. Yay! I wave my magic wand, and the opposite is going to happen. But the key here is that you're going to talk to yourself and affirm to yourself and imagine like it already happened, like it's a memory. Think of it and imagine it like it happened in a positive way. That coworker loves you and supports you, and you now get along with them. People are polite. People are kind. People are supportive. Think of that relationship. Imagine the opposite, and that it's supportive and loving and kind. You got the phone call, you got the message, you got the text. Imagine it as if it happened. Feel good about it as if it's real, that this is what shows up in your life. Healthy, whole, supportive relationships. Because the more you grow the story in the negative, and whatever we focus on, we grow, we magnify, we increase, law of increase. You say, yes, give me more of this. And law of opposites, law of polarity. If there is a negative experience, the opposite in the quantum must exist. If you place your energy into that and imagine it in the powerful eternal now, like it's real, you will create that, you will attract it, you will conform, you will enter into that reality. And I promise you that is what will show up in your life. It happened with a friend of mine. I have a really good friend who was having marital problems, and she didn't know what to do. She's like, do I file for divorce? Do I not? And here's the advice I gave her. Do nothing. When you don't know what to do, do nothing. Take a step back, take the attention off of him in the marriage, and focus on you. You level up your concept of self, get into a really good place, Focus on who you're being. You only have safe relationships. People love you. It always works out for you. You're safe. You're secure. This is going to work out in your favor. Keep telling yourself that this is going to work out in your favor because everything works out in my favor. I'm surrounded by people who love me and support me, and everything works out for me. And I said, you elevate your energy, your vibration, focus on you, who you are being. Two things will either happen. He will either show up reflecting the new elevated version of you, because right now you've built up a negative story on who he was, who you don't prefer to experience. So let's take the attention off of him and focus on you, who you are being. And you will naturally align and attract with people at that level. Your husband will show up reflecting this elevated new version of you, or he will fall off. You don't have to do anything. It'll happen on its own. It'll happen on its own. When you elevate, people either show up reflecting this new version of you, or they fall out and fall off your reality because you're no longer aligned with them. You wish them well, but they're no longer aligned. And that is a good thing. It's always a good thing, and it's always working in your favor. So I gave this advice to a friend of mine, like I said, and she reached out to me and said, this happened, a while back, but we talked about it recently, and she was like, incredible, that advice. But she totally believes in this conscious creation and the power of your mind and our thoughts and our ability to create by our energy, right? And who we are, who we believe we are. And so she said when he first came home, he was probably the most aggressive and combative that she had ever seen him. Not aggressive physically, but just, he was just combative with her. And she, dismissed it, stayed in her positive, happy, healthy energy, what she imagined, and just trusting with certainty that whatever was going on was going to happen, was going to work out for the better, was going to work out in her favor. And she supported, divinely protected, and it always works out in her favor. And one of the things we now realize is that was the end of that story. It was playing out. Him being combative and not conforming to a supportive, loving, kind husband, that was fizzling out. That was the end of it. Because she said immediately after that, she had to go on a trip. He had to go on a business trip, and they didn't see each other for like about 2 weeks. When they came back again, she said he was completely different. It's like he had leveled up and was reflecting the new, higher version of me. She said he was reflecting just kindness, loving, who she was being. But during that time that she didn't see him, she focused on her energetic state, the energy she was dwelling in, and who she was being. Took the attention off the problem, and it just, on its own, it took care of itself. And she did say that he said, he loved her. He wanted to work on their marriage. He was happily married. He didn't want to get a divorce, and he wanted to stay together. He said to her everything she wanted to hear. And we talked about it recently again. And she was like, that's just incredible. She's all, because, you talk to other friends who don't believe in this, and everybody was telling him, leave him, do this, do that, especially those that were saying get a divorce and quickly react. And she wasn't certain if she wanted a divorce. She didn't know what she wanted to do. And I said, well, if you don't know 100%, if you don't have peace about it, then do nothing. How do you know you're moving in the right direction? Because you have peace about it. If you don't know, then don't do anything. Focus on you, because things will naturally take form and conform to whoever you are being. And so I apply this in my own life. When things are awry or when things look like they're falling apart, it's actually a good thing, because to me, it's a sign, it's an indication that this story, this version of the negative story is leaving my life, and things are getting ready to take shape and conform to reflect an elevated version of me. And so I double down on my concept of self. Who am I being? My identity. I am calm. I am safe. I'm anchored in. I am a woman who always gets what she wants, and everything always works in her favor. I am safe. I am secure. I am loved. I'm divinely protected. Whatever story you want to tell about yourself and the quality of your relationships, you get to tell. So that is the powerful shift. It happens easily. Whatever you're going through right now, shift the story, shift the narrative, see if that doesn't transform things. And then as you try this, come back to this video and tell me what kind of results you get. Okay? Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.